welcomes comment from the public during discussion of any agenda items. You're required to step to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. Limit your time to 3 minutes so that others may speak. All speakers are to speak clearly and direct their comments to the mayor and city council and not to any councilor specifically. It is at the discretion of the mayor and council to respond to specific questions and comments or to have staff respond during the meeting. We've been called to order. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Cahill. Here. Gowdy.
Here.
Hoop.
Here.
Isom.
Here.
Lamer.
Here.
Martin.
Here.
Weirin.
Here.
Thank you. And is this considered a consent agenda or, okay. What's on the agenda is resolutions relating to the Merle Hill Road improvement bonding. Before considering the two resolutions, I would request a motion to reconsider the resolutions related to the essential corporate purpose borrowing, which was authorized at $4,830,000 at the October 28th City Council meeting, and the setting of the date for the sale of these bonds. Motion to reconsider shall only be made by a councilor who originally voted in favor of the measure, which could be council members Gowdy, Hoop, Lamer, and Martin. And a motion to reconsider requires a 2/3 majority or 5 of the 7 council members to pass. Is there such a motion?
Your Honor, I had, with a lot of consideration, I'm going to move that we open up this to negotiations. That's by no means a vote. It's just a motion to reconsider.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
I would like to make a statement about how I'm going to vote on this measure so everybody understands that why I'm voting the way I am. First of all, the motion the other night to not spend the $4 million to build a road was not a motion against the road. It was a motion to control financing and how the cities finance projects and whether we needed the money right away or not. It had nothing to do with yes or no on the road. It was totally about finances. I received a call, as I think everybody did. I don't know how the guy got a hold of my cell number, but that's another item that I'm really upset about, that somebody's given out my numbers without my permission. I told the gentleman it was really pretty easy for me to maintain my vote because we have Michelle and we have Tom Dimerly. Their job is when a prospect comes to town and wants to look at a piece of property that they want to develop, they usually go through the process of putting a small amount of money down to hold that property while their engineering firm puts together a preliminary plat that shows all the utilities on that plat. It shows the city's responsibility, and if they have to rezone it, it shows that has to be done. And once that's all done, then they come to the city with that preliminary plat, which tells us as city councilmen how much we're going to have to spend to make their development work. That wasn't done. We were just right in the middle. You either build a road or else, and I'm sorry, I don't like to be put in that kind of a situation. So I guess what I'm telling you is, if the process would have been handled like it normally is handled, we wouldn't be here today, and we would be waiting to see what the preliminary plans look like so we'd know what our responsibility is. I took some time to go and meet with Justin this morning and review the plans, which there's no plans for the street yet. All there is a is one drawing and a cost estimate. So they're just shooting in the wind, and the cost estimate's actually $4.9 million to build the road. And we looked at some of their estimate, and I think their estimates, I think I agree with Justin that we'd probably won't be that high to build the road. But the reason I'm going to vote no, just like I did the other night, is because the design isn't done, and we're looking at 6 to 9 months before they'll ever get the design done, before we'll even be ready to go out for bids. Well, 9 months from now puts us in the middle of next summer. And I don't see a reason why we should be paying interest on $4 million for 9 months, waiting for somebody else to get something done. I was led to believe that this whether we build the road or not was one of the deterrents of why this person would come to town or not. And nobody said we weren't going to build the road. We just said we weren't going to finance it now. And I don't like getting put in that boat. You either do it or else. Usually when that comes up to me, I usually say, I'll take the or else, and they end up building it anyway. So I'm going to vote like I did the other night. I'm going to vote no on the financing of the road, because I think we got 9 to 12 months to worry, and then we can worry about it then. And you guys can worry about it then. I don't have to. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Other comments or questions up here?
Your Honor, it's Bethany. Can you hear me?
You sure can. Yep, you got the floor.
So I don't know if somebody had information that I didn't have the other night, but to me it was a safety and economic development issue, both safety and economic development. Safety because of the high density housing, that's a now problem or within 9 months problem. And then the other part of it is the opportunity for economic development, whether that is a current developer interested in the property or somebody down the road. I think it takes long enough for these projects to come to fruition that we just need to move forward. It's for the future. So, but it's also for the now, and it's a safety issue. So those were the reasons I voted against taking this out of the bond issue last week.
Thank you. Other comments or questions up here?
Your Honor,
Ms. Martin.
this council has a variety of very serious responsibilities, have in the past and will in the future. I contemplated this for the last 3 or 4 days after I got a bit of information on the project and the planning and or lack thereof and so on. I'm sorry to say I got it from a lawyer, a realtor. We have responsibilities. Sorry, Roger. We have responsibilities, of course, and all citizens know this, for recovery, tremendous after the tornado, for growth, economic development, for maintenance issues that are confronting us all the time. And last but not least important is finance. I concur with the input of council members. Some would say I'd like to let the dust settle. In order to start a project, you'll never have a chance to finish it. It does have economic development probabilities to it. And you, the public, and we, the council, don't have all the facts. We have to do things on faith, and I don't like doing things on faith alone. There's a confidential arrangement on this action that we may take. There is an opportunity for growth, and yes, it does impact safety for the building going on in the southeast quadrant. I guess I wish for more transparency and quite frankly, I wish for more trust. We as city leaders have decisions to make. It's bothered me for the last 4 days on what decision I would take moving forward, but I chose to open this up because I think it's that important. It's a pivotal point in Marshalltown, as I figure. Between a rock and a hard place, you've got the issue of finance. I do want to keep and maintain our AA2 bond rating. That saves taxpayers the most money over the long haul. I note that we're not retiring any bonds in the next 2 years. However, I do believe, stretching our necks out, we can afford this. We can. But it's a risk. So that's where I'm coming from. That's the rationale. I've always been progressive and hopefully transparent in my decision making and so on. I hope to do that yet today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Other comments or questions?
Go ahead,
Go
sir.
ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
I will reiterate what Councilor Warren stated. The other night, I voted for this position because I truly feel it's a safety issue, that we owe it to all the residents of Marshalltown to have streets that are safe for them and communities that are safe for them. We've talked about input from, or that something may come up from the tornado still yet, and we'd like to have reserve funds. And I feel some of the development out there off of this road is in direct relation to the tornado. We are looking to provide housing for people who may have lost their housing in the tornado, and they can find some additional reasonably priced housing for them. So I feel that for the safety of the residents in that area, that we owe it to them to have a road that they can get in and out of.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Like some of the others here, we've probably all lost a lot of sleep over this. It's a big decision on following up a police and fire station for $7.5 million. One thing that stuck in my craw was the same thing as Mr. Martin, among others, of the forethought that we spend the money like drunken sailors and it's not our money. I beg to differ with that statement. I've lived here since 1974. My daughters are all here. My 7 grandchildren are here and went through school here. So to make that statement, it's almost like everybody feels that we're either from a different planet or a different place. We live different places. We all take this very seriously. When we're put into office, we're required to make a lot of tough decisions for you, the taxpayer. That being said, there's a lot of good reasons for this road. Economic developments, you could name a lot of things that this road will accomplish. A very tough decision. We're all feeling it. I think all of you are feeling it with social media, phone calls and stuff like that. So my feeling was to open this to renegotiate, so to speak. When we get to that point, I guess everybody will know how we all feel. And thank you all for your input. Right or wrong, we do need the road. Whether we need it now, whether we need it later, there's always opportunities. You have the amount of money that we're going to borrow and the interest rate, which makes a lot of difference. So with that being said, I just wanted to thank everybody for their input and and let the chips fall where they may. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else up here like to speak?
So this first vote we're going to take is what you read to reconsider. Okay.
It is.
Your Honor,
Martin?
is there anything that you as city leader or city administrator would like to add to this, to shed any further light on this?
As mayor, I would like to comment that I do see it as a safety issue. I also see it as an opportunity to lose an opportunity if we don't have the infrastructure in place that will allow people who are interested in developing here come in and develop. If I had a vote, I would vote yes. Let's call the question.
Gowdy?
No.
Hoop?
Yes.
Lamer?
No.
Martin?
Yes.
Weirin?
Yes.
Cahill?
Yes.
Isom?
Yes.
It did carry 5-7. Okay. Thank you. At this point, anticipating that we might have that motion pass, I would invite our city finance person to come up and give us some information about the impact.
Hi, this is Diana Steiner, Finance Director. So because you had approved $4,830,000 at the last meeting, there will need to be an amendment to that. And so that is your first resolution. It actually will change the amount to whatever you wish it to now be. There has already been a public hearing on the $8,830,000, so that does not need to be redone. So whatever amount you wish to now have, that will need voted on. So that's your first resolution.
And to be clear, the total authority that you had approved at, or that you had held the public hearing on at the last meeting was $8,830,000. The number that to be entered into that blank as part of a motion cannot be greater than $8,830,000.
Is there any more questions I can answer regarding this? Okay.
Thank you.
So what does the number need to be to include the Merle Hibbs project?
That would need to be $8,830,000 to include the full $4 million that we requested. And I guess one big reminder was we reduced that cost to $4 million when we had a discussion originally, like probably 4 weeks ago, that it is a higher dollar amount. That is the engineer's estimate at this point. But we looked at what other sources we would have with road use tax fund, water works, sewer fund, stormwater fund, to get that to the point where we could fit it within an authority to bring back to you. And so what is being requested for the East Merle Hibbs Extension Project is $4 million.
Is there a motion to approve that?
So move.
Second.
Discussion?
Were you the second, Gabe? Okay.
Gabe did. Mr. Martin?
I'd just like to add and interject perhaps that projects that have come before the city council in the recent past all have merit, and they depend upon a lot of collaboration, information sharing, and so forth. In the future, we would probably be addressing those. But at this time, and this is a timely item here, at this time, I think I'm electing to defer those extra projects that add to the quality of life, the safety, and the economic development of this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments or questions?
Your Honor, I'd like to have one number before we vote. Tell me, if you can, Diane, I know, how much does the city have left between there? If this goes through, how much do we have left next year until we meet our maximum amount? 2 million, 3 million, something, 3 million, 2, is that right?
Okay, hold on. Okay, so based on our valuations of 1.6 billion, our debt limit is 5%, so that'd be $82 million. Before any actions taken here today, our amount of debt is 47 million, so that leaves us $35 million left in legal debt margin.
Yeah, but we've got a 60%
Right.
limit.
Right.
What's
So
that
legal-
number?
Legally,
Yeah.
of the 5%, that's 35 million. The council has also had a statutory limit of 60% of that 5% legal limit. So that puts us down to $2.2 million left remaining.
Okay. If we prove this today.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
Other questions or comments? Before calling the roll, Madam Clerk, would you read the pending motion?
Yes, it's a motion in a second to approve resolution amending Resolution 2019-280, expressing intent and determining to enter into a general obligation essential purposes loan agreement in an amount not to exceed $8,830,000.
If there's no further comment up here, I'd call for the roll.
Cahill?
Yes.
Gowdy?
No.
Hoop?
No.
Isom?
Yes.
Lamer?
No.
Martin?
Yes.
Weirin?
Yes.
It is adopted 4-3.
Okay, thank you. Next item.
Resolution amending Resolution 2019-283, setting date for sale of what would now be $8,830,000 general obligation, corporate purpose, and refunding bond series 2019.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Thank you. Any discussion about that?
Diana Steiner, Finance Director. We had set the bond sale date of November 18th, so this will just include the amount of $8,830,000.
Thank you. Any questions or comments up here? Roll call.
Isom?
Yes.
Lamer?
No.
Martin?
Yes.
Weirin?
Yes.
Cahill?
Yes.
Gowdy?
Yes.
Hoop?
No.
That is approved 5-2.
Okay, thank you. That's all right. Yeah, and I haven't been able to pull my website on my laptop. Okay. At this point, this is a special meeting. We don't have the usual public comment. We are adjourned, and the time is 12:25 p.m.